Hello once again, guys. Today I'd like to share one of the technique I normally use to automate page form as shown on the screen. Just for an example, I created this form purposely for this video. So as you can see, it's 8 test input field and submit application button. So I just want to share with you how I'm gonna use Selenium and Java to automate this if I'm present with this task. So we need to download some dependencies. As you can see here, if you watch my first video, I detail how you can download Chrome and set it into your system environment variable path. So today on this video, we're gonna download Selenium, JUnit, and Maven compiler. So let's just do that. I'm gonna open my IntelliJ. Just click create a new project. You can see that we're gonna create a Maven project. Maven has been selected for me here, and it should for you as well. If not, just select Maven on the right and left panel here, and then the project SDK is already been set as default. Just click next. I'm gonna name our project. I'm just gonna call it student registration. Registration form project. So the location is on my desktop. I set it specifically to my desktop. Yours is going to be different. If you look at the group ID, you can see that it's a reverse order. Let's look at our form. You have to put your domain name, and the domain name for us is highlighted. I'm just gonna say com dot is a Maven project naming convention, and artifact ID has been selected same as name of the project. So just click finish. Then our project should be created. I don't need this. I see it, so import, just enable that. It's going to import our project. So I think that is done now. If you expand the project structure or hierarchy, we have ID. We don't need, and we don't have anything to do with this one. It's a default configuration. What we actually need in our own case is src main and test folder. If I expand this, I see Java and resources. So the Java is going to contain any class or classes that are related to the Selenium and the application page. So the resources, we're going to leave that because it's a small project. We don't need to create any resources. So on my test folder and Java folder, it's going to contain the test class. So my test is going to drive the application development. So I'm going to put any class or classes that are related to tests on this folder. And our POM file, which is a Maven POM file, is going to help us to download all those dependencies, Selenium, JUnit, and Maven. So we're going to go to Maven repository and search for those dependencies and put it here, and it's going to download it automatically for us. And external libraries, it contains all the jar file, which we don't have anything to do with this one. And then so let's just go to Maven repository to download Selenium WebDriver. Then on Maven repository, just search for Selenium WebDriver. Copy this first one. I'm gonna go for this TDD alpha, so which is not a stable version. I'm gonna go for version, let me see the popular one, this one, 3.14. Just copy that, come to our project, make sure you place it under POM file. Before you do that, you need to create a tag called dependencies, which is going to be the parent tag. They're putting parent tag for dependency. Just put it there. It's going to download for us. Go back there again. We need to download JUnit as our test runner. So I'm going to go for 5.5, or better still, I think this is more popular, 5.52. I'm going to click this one, then go back to our POM file, paste it there. It's going to download it for us. Then go back here and search for Maven compiler plugin. What Maven compiler plugin does is to compile our projects based on the Java version we installed. So it's very necessary to put that, or important, as part of our project. So all this is downloading. I think we should be fine now. Automatically download or install this package for us. So the next thing to do now is for me to create my packages and classes. So on my test, if you see how the technique behind it in extending that to page object module as small as this application is. I want to use TDD, test driven development, to automate this form. So what I'm going to do now is to create a package under the Java, or better still, is a small project. Let me just do it in a proper way anyway. I'll create a package. I'm going to call it student form. I'm going to create a package here as well on the where my Selenium application page needs to reside. And that's Selenium. And I'm going to create a class here on that test. I'm going to call it student. Let me just call it registration form test. Registration. So registration form test, what it's going to do now is to put all my tests in this class. So if I go back to my form here, I know I have two constants in this form. I have a test input and a click button. Just ignore this span or header. So because I'm talking about constant to perform an action, I'm gonna enter test here and I'm gonna click button. So what I will do now is to have a test is a JUnit annotation to indicate that this class is a test class. So register students, and I'm going to create a class. Now I told you I'm using TDD to write this code, and that's what I'm doing. I'm writing a field test. I'm writing a field test. I'm going to make sure it turns green and refactor it to be for it to work. So I think that's a mistake on the spelling here. I'm just gonna open now. It's just gonna open the URL because this is the first thing that we need to do when we come to this page, just to launch this page. Now I'm gonna pass in a string. Sorry. Yeah, I think I'm right. Yeah, just passing the URL here. So open all this red, they are not exist anywhere. So I want to make sure that it's green now. Create a class. As I told you before, any class or classes that are related to application page, I'm talking about form page, and Selenium is going to reside under main Java folder. Then select that. This class has been created for us, so you can see that now it's green. So I need to create this method, which is now exist in that class. This method is there for us now. It's green. So if you go back here, you can see that it's green. If I run this test, for example, it's not going to do anything. So it passed. So red, green, refactor. So we already passed 2 stages now, red, green. So we need to refactor this now in making sure that it launched the browser. So I'm using TDD to build this application form. It's a methodical way automate anything, to be honest, and I like it a lot. So here I'm just gonna change it to URL. Now I'm gonna, because I don't have my driver yet, you know that I'm not passing any Chrome driver, so I'm gonna say driver util. I'm gonna create a util class dot navigate to home page, navigate. So this navigate is gonna accept the URL argument, parameter. Just then I need to create a driver util class, which is going to reside under this same package. So I've created driver util class. So I need to create a navigate method. So navigate method, what it's going to do is going to contain our driver dot navigate. Okay, let me just leave this now. So I need to pass in my driver in making sure that at least I can launch the browser. So that's what I need to do now. So create a constructor, driver constructor. I'm just gonna say my driver equal to new Chrome driver. New Chrome driver. So driver is not exist yet. So create a field, class field variable for my driver, which is going to contain the object should be a WebDriver. Then now I can say driver dot navigate dot to URL, then passing the URL argument there. Was saying which driver we're talking about. Make it a static. It has to be static because if a method is a static method, then the data that's going to use that method must be static as well. So that one is done. If I launch this browser now, it's not going to work because I have to set my driver path. So if you watch my first video in terms of configure Chrome driver, I need to map my driver path into this class so that we know where the driver is. So that's what I'm going to do now, and I'm going to do that with just create a class here, public WebDriver init driver, just to initialize driver. And I can say that system, I want to map my driver in my C drive here now. System dot set property, which is going to be WebDriver dot Chrome dot driver, and my driver path. So I'm going to go to where I store my driver, my C drive. My driver is here. Then make sure you put Chrome driver .esc, because make sure you pass in your driver ese here. So I'm just going to say This is because it's a window application. So if you understand the Linux application file structure, you can do this, you can do what I'm doing. So now Chrome driver, you can leave it the way it is before, but I just prefer it this way. .exe. So then I need to return driver. So I'm going to launch this now and see whether it's going to launch. So now let's now automate this from inputs. So since I already set up our driver, so I'm going to follow the same process. Student registration dot enter first name, the first name, I'm just going to say Tunde, dot enter, this is called method chaining, enter middle name. If you know about action class in Selenium, you can see that it's the same process that they used to do to write action class in Selenium. And you can read more about method chaining of Fluent API, which is it's online. So you can understand this process. Enter address 1. So we can see that I'm giving it a very readable method name. No. Tap postcode. If you look at the form page, registration form page, you see that I follow each text field. So register student details is going to implement all this method for us. So let me make sure that this one is green. It was asking me what object am I returning. I'm returning student registration page because I'm still going to be on that page. Let me show you. If I say what are you returning, I'm returning this page. If I enter first name, I'm not doing anything. I'm still going to enter this middle name, and I'm still going to enter the next one until I click submit button. So that's it's what is asking, that what are you going to do. Okay, I'm still going to be on that page. I'm just saying that I actually did this keyword is talking about that particular variable, return and return it for us on that page. If I'm on this page, I type in Tunde, for example, that's the variable. This keyword, this Tunde, this Ahmed, this email, that's it, what it's talking about. And I need to, then, so I'm just going to follow this. Middle name. Why is it? Okay. So enter last name. You can just click Alt Enter. It's going to give you an option. Enter email. Enter address. So I'm just going to forward this now so that I don't take much of your time. So enter postcode. I don't know this one. They missed it there. I think didn't I mix it up? So now let's create this method that is going to implement each and every one of this one. So now, if you remember, I said we have two constants, test input and click button. So I'm going to create a reusable class method to type for input. This method is just gonna use it to type something, to send keys by string value, import that, and we're going to say driver dot find element. Instead of putting it directly in there, can just put it here in our base class, because we are building base class gradually. So I like to do my base class as I working on individual method as I need it. Let me put it that way. So come over here, I need to put first name, F name elements, and F name and the first name. So you can see that we don't have the elements yet. So if you look here, the first name element should be, if you inspect it, ID name. So that's what you're going to use. So if you create a property here by, let's go to by web element property dot ID, just put it here. So you can see that I'm just creating this gradually. Instead of putting driver.find element by ID, then first name, driver.find element by ID, you're going to do that driver.find in a single method, which is anti-pattern. So it doesn't follow automation best practice. So what I did was to put that in a base class with this type, put it in a base class as a method, then I'm going to be reusing it again. The only difference is I'm going to change the parameters, or I'm going to change the arguments. Sorry. So this argument, first name, the next one is going to be middle name, and the name, which is the name that you're going to pass into the text field, is going to be middle name. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy everything and put it here. So guys, you can see now that the only difference here is I just copy it, and I only change the elements here. So if you want to look at it, go to the form, you can see that we have different elements for each input text. This is ID middle name. So if you look at ID middle name here, so this is what it is. So then you pass in your arguments, middle name, last name. So that's how I did it. Postcode elements. Okay, if you look at driver util dot type postcode elements, then postcode. So you should understand this concept, guys, where I was saying that this our variable, these are the first name, middle name, last name. These are all the methods that are doing that for us here. So all this one. So and the next thing to do now is to create a class. Is to create a button that is going to click this form for us. So I'm just going to look for it here, and it has a btn primary. I'm gonna, because it doesn't have a ID, and I'm going to look for the JavaScript path, copy that, Control F, just paste the path here. So it's just one of the techniques that I normally use using JavaScript path. You can see it's identified for me. Just gonna copy it, then come here, driver util dot click button. So I'm gonna create a click button elements btn button. So it's going to click button for me, and I'm going to create a property for it as well, which is by web element property or selenium property by dot css. Then create a method to click to submit our button, then driver dot find element by dot click. So this is gonna click it's gonna click that. So that's it, guys. And let's just, before we do that, let's just verify whether it's gonna work. So let's verify again whether it's gonna work. If I click on run, it's not working. So it's a non-pointer exception. So because it's saying, I think it doesn't know where the driver is. So what I'm gonna do from my test, I will inherit driver util. So let's run it again. So my test class is communicated to driver util class. So run it. Okay, it's launched now. So we can see here, let me minimize this, that our test pass. So you see first name Tunde O Hamed, me to you email, address TTY, Man City, Bolton, Beard, postcode. It's click button. As I said earlier, it's not going to do anything. It's not going to submit it. So I just show my thought process in automating this. So that said, with these projects, obviously we can still refactor it to be more robust, like driver util class. I can put driver util class somewhere else, maybe creating a hook class to put so that my test class is going to inherit hook instead of inheriting driver util direct util class, because I don't want my driver to have anything to do with my test class. So those are the if I'm working on a real project, those are my thoughts process. Those are the stuff that I'm going to be thinking about. How am I going to refactor it? And again, even with this form, I'll be thinking that is a better way to do this. So I can just put all this into a list or an array, for example. Just a couple of lines of code is going to do the same thing. So those are the stuff that I can think about later. No, as I can think about to make it more robust later. So I think that is it. That is it, guys. So you can see, if anyone asks you, can you build automation framework from scratch? This is how you build automation framework from scratch. It just depends on how confident are you in terms of using Java or understand all this approach. So because we are building it and using test-driven development and create a page class here, which consists of the objects and the method that is going to execute those objects. And we build our base class, which consists of the generic elements or method that we are using in our form. In this case, we only have two constants, the inputs and the test field. So you might have select, you might have auto complete, you might have a radio button or different objects in a page. So then you can put it here. But as I said, I like to build it based on what I need at that time. So gradually this page can be up to 10, 15, 20 classes, and the way you structure your projects is even important. So it's that's what that's how actually I build my automation framework, and those are the concepts, and this is the concept I use for any other form for that matter, any other application for that matter. So thank you, guys. You can leave your comments and any question that you'd like to ask me. I will do my best to answer them. Thank you for watching.